Out of the crisis in Ukraine, and Secretary of State John Kerry is expressing some optimism tonight, but still little diplomatic progress to report. CBS 2's Dana Tyler has the latest.
For the first time since Russian troops took control of Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula, Secretary of State John Kerry held direct one-on-one talks with the Russian foreign minister as the U.S. works to find a diplomatic solution to the crisis.
All parties agreed today that it is important to try to resolve these issues through dialogue.
The Russians and Ukrainians have yet to sit down together, but Secretary Kerry says there was no expectation that would happen, and the talks are showing progress.
I'd rather be where we are today than where we were yesterday.
The U.S. is pushing Moscow to withdraw forces back to bases in Crimea and open a dialogue with Ukraine's acting government. A special UN envoy came under threat by armed men who forced him to leave the region. Envoy Robert Sari was briefly barricaded in a coffee shop by a pro-Russian crowd before being escorted to a car to the airport. While the White House attempts to persuade reluctant allies to go along with economic sanctions against Russia, the U.S. is also stepping up its support of NATO allies in the region. Meantime, Russia has suggested it will meet any sanctions imposed by the West with a tough response. President Vladimir Putin has warned of serious mutual damage. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel told a Senate panel the U.S. is putting more planes in the Baltics and increasing aviation training with Polish forces. NATO is expanding its involvement with Ukraine's civilian and military leadership and reviewing all NATO cooperation with Russia.
This will send a very clear message to Russia that they must de-escalate tensions.
In eastern Ukraine, pro-Russian activists recaptured an administrative headquarters building, while the tense standoff in Crimea has settled into a waiting game. The European Union now putting together a $15 billion aid package for Ukraine. That sum matching the amount Ukraine's ousted president agreed to accept from Russia in exchange for turning his back on a trade accord with the EU. Alice.
Dana, thank you.